Highland Park Tennis Club got started actually by a group of friends. There was 7 of us.
Okay, well, really, it started in the early fall back in 2000.
September, October, November, December, we missed our other tennis friends.
And we said, boy, there's nothing to do. There's, no tennis to be played.
We were talking one day.
We decided to have a tennis party.
And I tell you, it was a success. I can't remember how many people we had.
Maybe 35, 40 people.
75, 80 people came.
We actually made around $300.
And we said, well, what are we going to do with this? What can we do?
Well, we put on a free summer tennis clinic.
We should form a club.
And that was the origin of the Highland Park Tennis Club.
I think we've been doing this, don't quote me, over 20 years. I think this is our 21st year of doing the clinic.
We targeted kids, ideally kids in the inner city, because that was the group of people which the United States Tennis Association did not really target.
We donated our own rackets, and we bought balls and stuff like that, and we kind of advertised a little bit and said that all you need is, bring yourself.
Like you start at like 5 and then as old as you want to be. If you can come out and play, or you're ready to come out and play, come.
We're trying to serve the underserved, introduce tennis to people of color and then the inner city residents.
Well, you really didn't have high expectations of what, we just wanted to do things.
I would say the first year or two, we had around 40, 45 people that would come out.
We fill 9 courts with around, on average, 100 to 120 players.
We've actually found ourselves on some Saturdays limited because we got every court filled with so many people, but we still make it work.
There are no stupid questions. There are no people who cannot play tennis in their point of view. And if I could start learning to play tennis at the age of 62, so can you.
Why do I love tennis?
I was playing basketball right here next to this, and I saw these tennis courts right here.
It's fun, it's exercise.
The short answer would be, I feel better when I leave the court.
Boy, as I get older, the answer keeps on being the same thing with a lot of things, just making a lot of friends.
The artistry of the game.
I picked it up on an accident. About 3 courts down when I was in high school, some buddies of mine, they played tennis. And I figured I could play tennis because I'm pretty good at table tennis. Instead of helping me, I became the big joke. My statement was, next year, I play ahead of all of you on the high school team. And they laughed and everything else until next year came and I played ahead of all of them.
You hear people say, you were bit by something, and it's like, I don't want to be the runner-up now, I want to be the champion.
To come back in a match is like the most fun thing. And in tennis, it's never over until that last point is played.
I won't deny that I like competition, so it's fun to compete with people.
And I don't want to brag, and you don't have to put this in, but I have over 100-something trophies at home.
Playing tennis, it allows us that medium, this platform to be able to play tennis, do something we love, to create and maintain a healthy lifestyle, but also, and more importantly, we use our funds to really give to local charitable and educational organizations.
During the pandemic, we got a chance to start a scholarship for the Pittsburgh Public School high school seniors. They actually have to do an essay, and they have to be college bound. It is an academic scholarship. This year, the essay question is based on Althea Gibson's quote, and it's, no matter what accomplishments, know that someone helped you.
I wrote about my first coach, Coach Parks, and how he's taught me patience with myself and just to be very encouraging. He always says that you give your best, you can get your best back. So definitely going your full all so you can do good.
Each year we offer a food drive that fills local food banks, pantries. We do fundraising for other organizations such as Gwen's Girls, Envision Blind Sports. We raise funds through tournaments and drives yearly.
The IRS actually gave us our 501c3 status. You know, they initially told me that tennis clubs are not charitable organizations. Tennis clubs do not get that designation. But I was able to convince them that if you look at everything that we do, the majority of our time, 80% of our time, everything's done of a charitable and a educational nature to really give back to the community, to really serve the underserved.
My hope would be that somehow the United States changes our program to be more inclusive.
I wish I had learned how to play tennis coming out of the womb, but being from the inner city and being from the ghetto, you know, the majority of our residents, we engage in team activities because we cannot afford the individual activities. And so that's why a lot of us play basketball, because one ball is good for 10, 15 people. Football, same thing, okay? You know, so it's really just about economics.
You know, some people don't play tennis because they can't afford the rackets, they can't afford lessons, they're wondering what to wear. Highland Park Tennis Club says, come as you are in relaxing clothes and tennis shoes, and bring a bottle of water. And we have experienced people to teach you, so that makes it really accessible for all.
It's a really great way to connect, form instant friendships, but it's also a great way to rally around a movement. So the U.S. Blind Tennis Association rose out of the Highland Park Tennis Club.
It was started because of Damiana, my daughter, who has a visual impairment. Through research, we found that blind and visually impaired tennis is played all over the world, but not here as much in the States.
So most people play with a rubber tennis ball with a felt coating. The rubber interior that's filled with air, it's pressurized, allows the ball to move really, really fast. That's not going to work for a blind participant.
The ball used for blind and visually impaired tennis is a mechanical ball that does not hold up well through tournament play and advanced play.
I took a look at that ball, and when I first met the ball, I noticed a few things. It doesn't bounce very high, and it's extremely difficult for our B1 or profoundly blind players to track it by sound only. And so we did a series of experiments on court where we picked a couple of sounds that work really well on a tennis court, and now we're working on putting that inside of a ball that's appropriate for the sport.
One of the biggest challenges for an outdoor community are the other environmental sounds, such as cars driving by, construction work. That really dampens the sound of the ball in tracking.
Honestly, one of the biggest challenges of making this sport accessible is finding more athletes to play.
One of the things as a community that we're trying to coordinate is transportation to and from our city courts. There's some public transportation within Pittsburgh that is reasonably reliable. It's probably not to. Many of us come from different points in Pittsburgh, and so there's often, just with a little bit of coordination, opportunity for us to carpool.
In February 2023, we went to USTA National Campus and held the first ever international conference here in the States and the first ever BVI tournament at the national campus.
So already Pittsburgh is becoming a potential center of competition, but we want to have more than that. There's a group in South Texas that has 2 clubs. They're competing on the international level already for decades. So we could invite them up and get our butts kicked by them, but it would be really fun. They're really gracious, fun people.
Part of our commitment as a club is, again, to make sure that the courts are inclusive of everyone who wants to play, and that includes players who use wheelchairs.
As a matter of fact, on June 17th of this year, we're going to have a wheelchair coaches clinic out at Oxford Racquet Club.
Playing the sport of tennis using a wheelchair is there's not a need for adapting the court, there's not a need to adapt any equipment. The one adjustment to play is if you're using a wheelchair while you're playing tennis, that you get 2 bounces. Beyond that, the game is played exactly the same way.
I think the little kids, I hope they're learning how to play together, to listen to instructions, you know.
They're learning how to get along with anyone and everyone.
These are our future leaders. We're getting up in age. I'm getting up in age, but we want to really pass that down to the kids.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor, and then I wanted to be a car mechanic. Like, I had so many things when I was younger that I wanted to be. But now that I'm a little older, I actually don't know. People tell me that I should run for president of the United States.
It is a multi-generational and a multicultural, multi-religious organization who welcomes all. And so people who come through here, they get to see people are people. It doesn't matter how tall, how short, how old, how young, and now whether or not you have a handicap.
I used to wear a button, right? And the button said it's all about the kids. And so when I think about the clinic, I think about not just the kids, but a community.
The culture of the club, and it carries through to the clinics, is all about inviting everyone on the court and truly meaning everyone.
There are a ton of programs for young kids to learn to play tennis. There are a ton of programs out there for high school kids and college kids. I like the fact that there's a focus on people that are older who are getting to play tennis. And you could call them the next generation of players, people who are 50 and 60 and learn to play tennis, and they'll be playing tennis for the next 20 years. So they're as much a part of that next generation of tennis players, if you will, as the young kids are.
Sometimes you say, oh, I'm worn out. But for the club and for tennis, it's like I could never be worn out. I would do anything and everything.
This is all volunteer work, but me personally, I get paid when I'm walking somewhere off a court or just in a grocery store, and someone looks at me and smiles and says, Coach Rob.
I think what makes it so enduring is the people that, like I said, the group that started, we were friends, and on the tennis court and off.
It's the people. It really is, you know.
I think sports in a way like transcends hate.
Again, the bigger part of this, the bigger part of the tennis club actually is just making friends.
Beginning of the season, I mean, you know, people from last year, but now 8, 9 new people show up. And the next thing you know, you're all at a barbecue at someone's house together.
You know, sports can obviously divide. You know, if you're a Steeler fan and you're a Cleveland fan or a Baltimore fan.
We do not discriminate. We say come one, come all, but come, okay? Bring a smile with you. Tell a friend and bring a friend. Everything we do is about trying to be a partner, trying to expand the minds of men and let everyone and anyone know that if we just come and accept each other and want for your brother what you want for yourself, we can all be happy. This is heaven on earth.
I like that.